Hello. In this video, I'm going to go through the things that you can claim on motor vehicle expenses. Remember, if you want to look at any of the other work-related deduction type claims, I've done them all as separate videos so that you can just jump to the one that you want to find out about. So this one is motor vehicle expenses. And it's important to note here that depending on the size of your car, you may not get both methods for claiming motor vehicles. So the two methods that we have, of course, are the 5,000 kilometres where the tax office allow you to claim at a set amount per kilometre, and then you have the logbook method. But if your car is over 1 tonne, you cannot claim the cents per kilometre method. The other thing that you need to look at is if your car is a passenger vehicle or a commercial vehicle, and they are treated separately and completely differently. So if you have a commercial vehicle, and they're generally ones that are more than 1 tonne or have a carrying capacity of more than 9 passengers, then reach out to us and we can go through that separately with you. So in this video, I'm going to deal with cars that are less than 1 tonne and are what we class as passenger vehicles. So as I said, there are two methods. So there is the 5,000 kilometres where the tax office will give you a set amount that you can claim per kilometre, or there is the logbook method. So let's go through the set kilometre rate one first. So you can claim up to 5,000 kilometres a year per car. So if you've had 2 cars, you can claim up to 5,000 kilometres per car. It is important to note, though, that you do have to have ownership of that vehicle. It can't be somebody else's that you've borrowed. The exception to that rule is if it's husband and wife, because that's a joint ownership type thing. So if the car is in the wife's name, the husband can still claim it, and vice versa. The thing that we hear quite often around the 5,000 kilometres is people will tell us that they can claim 5,000 kilometres because you don't need to have a logbook. And whilst that's true, but you do need to have a basis for how you claimed it. And this is where the tax office win most cases that they audit, because people will just go, oh, I probably did 50 kilometres a week. That's not a basis for claiming. That's a pluck a figure out of the air. So to have a basis for claiming it, you need to have a record of where you travelled and the amount of kilometres that you travelled to get there. So something like you can just have a diary, or your work diary, for example, that says that you went from point A to point B, and you can Google map that to find out how many kilometres it is. But you have to have a record as a basis. The other thing that we hear quite often is people saying that they have to travel to different sites, and so then they can claim the travel for those. If your set days are, say, you might do Mondays, Tuesdays and Fridays at one site and Wednesdays and Thursdays at another site, that is your places of employment. So the only times that you can claim work travel is where you're traveling between job sites. So you've gone to job A and you've got to go to point B and you travel. You can claim that. Or if you have gone to a place that you don't normally work at. So if you've got to go out to a client's premises, so you left from home, you drove to a client's premises instead of to work, you can claim that. The other thing that we quite often hear is, I've got to take my tools to and from work, so therefore I can claim it. So that can be claimed where there is no lockup at work, where it is a requirement that you take your tools to and from work, not a convenience because you want to use your tools as opposed to theirs. And whilst there is no weight limit or anything dimensions, the tax office use that it's got to be big and bulky. Tax law where the taxpayer has won tends to be where it's more than 20 kilos and it takes 2 people to lift that toolbox out of the car. So electricians that have a tool bag that's, 10, 15 kilos, they've lost those cases in tax law, whereas the builders that have those, the checkerbox plate toolboxes on the back of their truck, they're the ones that have won that type of case. Certainly as far as, teachers go where they're taking kids' books home to mark, they will not win that one. So remember, you've got to have a basis for how you're going to claim that, not just a random, oh, I do 50 kilometres a week. You have to be able to show that it is necessarily incurred in earning your income, so not just a convenience. You cannot claim if you are called into work. So wherever you go from home to work, you can never claim that regardless of the circumstances. There is one very small proviso that lets you claim that, so I won't worry about that here because so few taxpayers fall into that little category that it's not worth mentioning. So remember, if you want to claim the cents per kilometre, you have to have ownership of the vehicle. You have to have a record of how you've come up with your kilometres. You have to be able to show that it is work travel, not a convenience. And you have to be able to have that backed up by your employer that you do use it. So cases that we've seen not work is there's been a pool car. And so the employer said, no, that was their choice to use their car. They had a pool car to use and we've reimbursed them. The other thing to remember though that is if you are reimbursed a kilometre rate by your employer and it doesn't come onto your group certificate, it means that you've been reimbursed and you can't claim it. If your cents per kilometre that your employer reimburses you comes onto your payslip and onto your group certificate, comes in as taxable income, and we can then counteract that with a claim going out. So it's important to find out whether your employer has reimbursed you and included it in your group certificate or payment summary, they're called these days, or whether it's just been a cash reimbursement. So find those out and that will make your claim far more rigid if you get an audit. So then we look at the logbook method. So this is where people want to claim based on the percentage that the car is used for work use as opposed to business use. And we've had people come in with a logbook and show that they've travelled 8,000 kilometres and they want to claim it on a cents per kilometre because their logbook says they've travelled 8,000 kilometres. It doesn't work like that. If you want to claim your cents per kilometre, it stops at the 5,000 regardless of whether you can show that you've travelled more than 5,000 kilometres for work purposes. So the logbook method is where you work out how much of the car's use is personal use as opposed to the business use. So you have to run a logbook. It has to be run for 12 continuous weeks. And that logbook, once you've got it, will last you 5 years provided circumstances don't change. But once you've established the use of the vehicle is, let's say, 52% business use, you will then claim 52% of all your running costs. So the registration, the insurance, the fuel, the repairs, the servicing, and everything that it costs you to run that car per year. So it is important that your logbook is valid. And if you're not quite sure how to do a logbook, we've got a sheet. Reach out to us and we can send that over to you where you can keep track of your kilometres to establish that your logbook is valid. But also we've got a sheet that you can keep track of your costs, so you can put that all in. So if you want to claim your logbook method for claiming your car, you will need to come to us with the total of what you've spent with your fuel, your rego, your insurance, your servicing, any repairs or tyres or anything that you've spent on that money. Please don't come in with a bag full of fuel receipts and expect us to add them. We have an Excel spreadsheet or that you can use, or of course you can just add them up and come in with a total of what you've got. Again, remember, you must have receipts for everything that you want to claim. And we've got a portal that you can have access to store your receipts in if you want. So if you want that access, just let the girls on reception know and they will send you a link. It's secure, it's saved in the cloud, and it's nice and, as I said, secure. Keep all your receipts in case you get an audit. So if you've got any questions on using your car for work purposes, under either the cents per kilometre method or the logbook method, reach out to us here at 123 Financial Group and we'll give you more information around that. Thanks for that, and check out all of our other work-related videos which are in the same spot that you found this. Have a great day.